Hey, Stanley, is that jacket made of updog?
I'm on the phone.
All right.
Got him.
Welcome to PDT podcast numero Spanish for 5.
Yeah.
Cinco. That's
Perfect.
what I'm looking for. Particularly dorky talk, probably dumb time.
Pretty dumb time.
We have a guest.
Yeah.
We have Andrew is our guest.
Yeah, I am usually not here, but I'm here today.
Andrew died last week, but he came back for this podcast.
Yeah. Thanks,
also,
everyone.
Jackie's here. Anyway, so what are we talking about?
We can start how we normally start. Anyone have interesting stories from the week?
Well, let's rewind a second.
Yeah.
We do have a special guest. Jackie, please introduce yourself to our lovely fan.
Well,
which is probably you, but...
I'm Jackie.
Sick.
My friends call me Yaki.
Sick. Sometimes Yaki-san.
Yaki-san, that's a pretty popular one.
That was probably insane.
Yeah.
That was probably pretty loud.
All right, well, thank you for that riveting
Yaki's a
intro.
teacher. She's a teacher. She teaches things to kids.
Yeah, she doesn't talk a lot, apparently.
Got him.
There's no need to
I
introduce
teach
yourself.
computer.
I mean, our introductions were about that long.
Yeah, pretty much. We're from Kansas.
We're from Kansas. Hi, I'm Dorky.
Hello.
I'm Andrew. Hello, I'm Graham.
Hello, I'm Graham. I'm from Kansas, but I used to live in Florida. Right.
Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, that was pretty much Graham's, except
That was episode 1.
with an even more offensive accent.
Yeah.
He did this really, really offensive Spanish one. I mean, no, we cut that out. Or did we? Maybe he didn't do it. Anyway, what happened this week?
So, I went to Walmart today, which is how this is going to start in the most basic version of stories.
That sounds bad.
I needed shampoo, because I have hair. But on the way in, I saw this little kid walking out with a little birthday hat on. And it was quite windy, and it blew the hat off.
Sick.
And he chased it into the street, and the mom was like, "No, don't run into the street!" And his car was coming, and I swooped his hat up, and he stopped chasing it, otherwise he might have gotten hit by a car. I felt pretty good about that.
That sounded like the intro to a superhero origin.
Except that the kid didn't get hit by the car.
Right, that's the only difference.
I'm glad I stopped us from having a superhero.
Yeah, you ruined our chances at a superhero.
What would he do?
The kid chases the birthday hat. The mom jumps in the way. You need to realize that superheroes don't have alive parents. That's the thing. Every superhero...
The mom was like half a mile away, so... It was more likely she would have gotten hit by a shopping cart than a car. If she died by getting hit by a shopping cart, that's on her.
I mean, I don't disagree. But again, superheroes don't... Name 2 superheroes who have living, functioning parents.
2 living, functioning parents?
Oh, I
Yes,
guess
who
it's
have
not gonna
a
happen.
full set of living, functioning parents.
No.
I would say, well,
Wrong.
Well, for
I
a
would say
little
maybe,
bit Thor,
like,
but that
alive parents, but then you added functioning in it.
the functionings
Like-
takes that away.
Who are you thinking of?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's fair.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, you know
I
that
could
one
try
superhero with his vegetable father.
Alternate dimension Batman.
God.
What?
Yeah.
Where his dad is Batman?
Yeah.
Or the other alternate dimension Batman? Where his
Yes.
parents are still dead. And we're probably going to see it in the next Batman movie.
The first one.
Got it.
It's still bad.
It's not the greatest.
Yeah, that was it. That was my only story from the week. I didn't do a lot.
Let's see what happened this week. Went to the doctor. I don't know why I'm telling that story. That's literally nothing exciting. Might have had a nurse flirt with me, but that was fairly normal. She was...
From the college you teach at?
No, thankfully.
Good.
Because I would have left. But yeah, that's not a story worth telling. Yaki-san, how did the week go?
Since the last time we recorded the podcast, what's gone on with you?
Yeah, because we knew previously.
Got him.
I have no idea. I mean,
Anything of note?
not of note.
So.
I've played video games, is about it.
What game have you been playing, Yaki-san?
Stardew Valley.
Freaking nerd!
Got him.
Stardew Valley, it's a great game. You're a nerd for
Fantastic.
playing it.
I love it. It's better than my real life.
How's it going? Are you married yet? How many kids do you have? Can you have kids in that? You haven't played it. What
I
am
haven't
asking
played
you?
it. Don't ask me.
I don't
I
know
think
if you
I've
can
read
have kids.
online
I
that
think
you might be able to.
That can't be.
I don't know.
appropriate
it's a
age
real
for
life
kids.
No,
replacement.
just like-
I'm assuming it's not like, all right, press this button to penetrate your wife.
I think we're gonna cut that out.
Yeah, we might have to cut that out.
Oh, I don't like that.
I mean, I love it, but
I don't think that's part. I didn't play far enough to get to the
yeah,
penetration.
so you'll have to
minigame.
let us know.
Or don't. Just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, if that's how it goes down,
Yeah.
keep it to yourself. If it's
No.
different, let us know.
Right.
Very much like my real life. In the game, I'm also very single.
Oh, jeez.
That could have gone 2 ways.
I also press buttons too.
Do bad things to my spouse.
Whoa.
Not bad if it's consensual.
I mean, I guess one kind of interesting story at school. In one of my kindergarten classes, I don't really wear much jewelry. Especially I don't wear,
jewelry. Yeah.
sure.
Charlery.
I don't really wear rings very often.
Okay.
And so I had 2 rings on my right hand. And in a kindergarten class, I had a kindergartner ask me if I was married. They're like, "Did you just get married?" It's like, "No, I'm still very
And
single."
you said yes in Stardew Valley.
Have you played Stardew Valley, kids? No, we're not freaking nerds.
I mean, they were kindergartners.
Kindergartners are.
Dab, dab,
Freaking-
dab.
No,
Go
I don't
Cody.
think they're really. I don't think any of my kindergartners dab. I think that's
Good.
pretty much first grade and above.
You should kill the first grade class.
None of them are worth
They're
it.
bad.
Sorry, go on.
I mean, that was the story.
Oh, okay.
I was asked if I was married.
See,
They
I love
they
lying to children.
they often like to ask whether I'm married. They like to check in and make sure that
Things
in
are
case
going well.
in case things are going well.
A mental health keep. Or a
Sort of.
mental upkeep.
They
Your kindergartners sound like a gem.
a couple weeks ago
One of them
I
takes your hand and pats it lightly.
They're like,
Miss Meyer, how's it going?
are you married?
Are
You're
things
like,
going
no. And
well?
you're like, but are you doing well?
I had a
Do you want to talk about it?
I had a kindergarten class. I think it was the same kindergarten class. A couple weeks ago, I had told them that I had a surprise. I was like, I actually have 2 surprises, and they're like, "Are you having a baby?" And it's like,
You can have more than one
No.
surprise.
Getting married, having a baby. Those are the only times.
Getting married
Baby's
shouldn't
not
be
a
a surprise.
well,
In some countries, but that's a whole new
To
kind
children.
of topic.
I mean,
Otherwise,
in their
it's
defense, their teacher had just left because she had a baby.
because she was surprisingly married and had surprised had a
She
baby.
just had a baby, and so they're thinking,
Just like me.
"Oh, well, are you also pregnant?" But no, I am not.
Yeah, I was an accident too. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure I was. I wasn't told
Surprise.
that, but it's been implied multiple times.
Yeah, my parents called me a surprise, which I feel like
Is
is
your middle name Surprise?
no, thankfully. Though it wouldn't have surprised me if it was.
No matter what, if my first kid's a surprise or not, their middle name's going to be You're a Surprise.
So it's gonna be like James, you're a surprise, Meyer.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I mean, yeah.
You should be ashamed.
I mean, I'm not going to do that because hopefully I'll love my kids.
Hopefully. See, I love lying to kids though, because kids are dumb. Kids are really,
Oh, yeah.
really dumb. And I worked at a daycare where they would basically assume, they would guess age based on physical size.
That's a problem.
Right, and so when it was like the 5 foot something female counselor, it was like, oh, you're like 17, even though she was 26. And then it came to me, and they were like, how old are you? And I'm like,
So-
guess, children. Technical snafu.
We're back.
Anyway, children are bad.
Yeah.
What else are we going to talk about this week?
Do you want to talk about movies, or something else?
I mean, we could always talk about movies.
I think we might want to talk about something else.
First, because once the movies happen, it's going to take
It's
over.
going to be the entire rest of the
Do
time.
we want to start with a heckin' game?
Yeah, we're going to play a game.
Okay, so,
It's
games!
called
Games!
Hey.
Homestar.
Yeah, sick reference that no one's going to understand.
Hey. They might.
Given most of the listeners are people that we know.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
not.
okay. Anyway, so I don't know whoever's played this game. As good old Torrin here said, he's played it with Graham, who's dead, which is why he's not here.
Yeah, Graham died because he starved to death.
Yeah. Quit doing juice diets, Graham.
I mean, it's not just juice, but it might as well be
it might as
just
well
juice.
just juice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what they
they
call
played
it,
it with
just
band
juice.
names, where someone's going to list titles of something, and then some other ones. You try to figure out which ones are real, which ones
Right.
are false.
Well, yeah. You might just want to say one, and then we have to say, no, that's fake.
I don't
or
know
that's real.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. Instead of listing them all off,
I'm
we'd be
terrible
like,
at
this
these
one's right,
running
this one's wrong.
games.
That's fine.
You weren't brought on for your acumen of deciphering truth from falsity.
We're going to do it with news articles. So,
You got that? All right.
let's get with news articles.
Let's do it.
Half of them are on my phone, half of them aren't. Because I did this half while I was laying in bed this morning, and
Alright.
half later when I had my laptop. So.
All right. Let us have it.
Teen shows up to prom in a coffin and lives to tell the tale.
I feel like that's real.
I saw that.
Yeah,
so I
so
know
it's
it's
super real, yeah.
She
can
wants to
see
be
that
like a
happening.
funeral director or something.
You see, the problem with that is that it's super weird.
It's
Not that
really
wanting to be a
weird.
funeral director, it's the showing up to prom in a coffin, having them lower you out, and then just being like, okay, thanks, then getting out and being fine.
Right. Because I wanted to when I was in high school, I was expecting to be a video game something. Like I was going to major in software engineering, so I didn't climb out of a giant computer to go to prom.
Yeah. Like when people are in high school and they're like, I want to be a psychologist, they don't climb out of a brain.
They should. I don't know why they have big fancy intros for prom anyway.
Yeah, when I was in high school, when you went to a dance,
What
you
is
got
this,
out
a
of
Judd Apatow movie?
Yeah, you got out of the car and you walked into the building,
Yeah.
and if you were the boy, you opened the door for the lady,
When I went
and
to
that was it.
when I went to prom,
and you danced.
there was no like. If you had a big presentation outside of the school of the dance, no one was out there because they were all at the dance.
They were all inside dancing.
Right. Or not dancing.
Also, which means you made a big entrance for yourself, which makes you kind of a tool.
Yes.
Unless you had
Anyway.
friends that also had the same entrance,
I
but even
did.
then, that's not that impressive because
You
they're
all
doing
have
it too.
simultaneous entrances that
Right.
are different.
Because
People sliding out of coffins,
Oh, gosh.
brains.
because apparently they're wrestlers at WrestleMania.
Just the best.
WrestleMania prom.
Right. I would go. Oh man, I would go.
I
to that.
really want to go to that. I liked the mom's comments on that, where she's like, I do understand, hindsight, that this might not have been a good idea, because for a lot of people, well, she should have said it's most people, death is a touchy subject. I'm like,
That's why.
That's
not
not
because
good.
it's effing weird and your
Because-
kid's a freak.
that's what's important. Like, her kid's weird.
This isn't really earth shattering here.
Okay, the second one is Florida woman selling underwear made of IKEA bags.
Wait, say that one more time.
Florida woman selling underwear made of IKEA bags. So she's taking bags from IKEA, fashioning them into different kinds of underwear, and then selling them.
See, even if that's fake, I can see
It's in
somebody doing that.
Florida woman. This is not
Right.
just like a woman in Texas where you'd be like,
Man, that's
she on
weird.
crack?
But it's
like
like, nah,
Florida, you're like,
They are on crack.
Either
I
that
know
or it's
they're
like,
on crack.
oh, that's
But what
crafty.
do they do during?
They saw that on Pinterest.
welcome to the PDT Pinterest page where we make underwear from out of IKEA bags.
What pins do they have? Who's pinning that currently? Learn how to make underwear from your IKEA
Florida
bags.
woman.
You know, I had a lot of IKEA bags,
If
so
you
this
were
is good.
under the board of sewing hacks.
I don't call
When-
things hacks around me. I hate that. It's not a hack. It's something 90% of people know. They just don't do it because it takes time.
90% of people know how to make underwear out of IKEA
I
bags.
could probably fashion underwear out of IKEA bags, but I choose not to because I decide to wear normal
Because you're
underwear.
not a Florida woman.
I'm gonna say this is real, but it's probably not.
It's real, but only half real, really. so it's kind of a not real.
So it's a trick question.
It's not people in Florida. It's people all over the United States, which is far more disappointing.
I want to see pictures of this.
You don't.
I know there's
Not people wearing them.
I want people wearing their IKEA underwear.
latest from Victoria's Secret.
IKEA.
IKEA, the underwear.
The model is Torbjorn.
Torbjorn, ready to build a shelf. Anyway, what's next?
Google is making amazing movies from people's cat photos online. So they're just piecing movies together with pictures of cats online.
I feel like that's false.
It seems like you just don't want it to be real, but you think it might be because
I feel
Google's
like
a weird organization.
Most of these are going to be, I don't want this to be real, but they are real. I'm going to say that one's false.
That one's 100% real.
I was.
They had a movie online, and I was like, I should watch this. And went, wait, no, I shouldn't.
This is going to be fascinating. Who's controlling my mind?
I have 5
Who's
of
telling me
them
to
downloaded on my computer, and I tend to watch them later.
Why?
Because I'm curious.
That's fair.
I want to see if it's an hour-long movie, or if it's, here's a 2-minute video I made, just pictures of cats to evanescence. Like,
I'd watch that.
I don't know which one it is.
I mean, I probably would watch like a few minutes of it to see what's going on, but
The next one, teacher suspended for letting students bash a Trump pinata.
Students suspended for...
Teacher
students-
suspended.
Oh, teacher wouldn't be suspended for that.
Jackie?
I don't know. I feel like that's false.
It depends a little bit on the state, but I imagine a teacher wouldn't be suspended
Also,
for that.
the age of these
I'll
kids.
tell you the age of the kids and the state. The kids look like they're in, like, maybe 5th, 6th grade. The state
So
of
it's at
Texas.
least.
The fact that you have those details makes me think it's real. But I'm still saying it's fake.
I mean, it's super real.
I
Are
was.
there fake ones in here?
Yeah.
I was gonna say because you said even though you.
Well, it is Texas.
It's
Okay.
true.
Where it's half the belief that Trump is a god and that you just shouldn't disrespect the president,
Right.
which
Which is...
I mean, I would
Somewhat
fall in that
valid.
second
you shouldn't.
line where
Right.
whether I mean, especially now that like whoever the president is, I don't care if you like him or you don't. We're not gonna make fun
We're
of
not
him.
going to make him into a pinata and let your class beat the crap out of him.
Right.
I
Until
mean, I had to
candy
deal
fall
with
out.
that a little bit in my classroom.
Because there was
Just
something...
like I don't care if you don't like the president. Stop making fun of him.
Right. I vaguely remember people doing that with Obama when he was, like, very first elected.
Yeah.
Like, there was a piñata of Obama and people beat it with sticks, and there
I
was
don't
this
remember that at all.
big, huge thing about it.
It's not good.
It's not good.
I mean,
right.
making
And it
any
was like-
political figure face a
Right.
pinata is not good.
Piñatas are supposed to be like SpongeBob or My Little Pony.
Or Dora the
Especially My
Explorer.
Little Pony. Because I want to hit My Little Pony with a stick. But they shouldn't be actual people. That
No.
seems
Yeah.
that seems very sadistic.
The
It's
closest one I've
crossing the
seen
line.
is there was one that definitely wasn't George Bush. They made that clear. But I'm like,
But-
this is a very tan version of George Bush with oddly colored brown hair. Like,
Oh gosh.
the face was right. He was like half a shade darker, and then like had brown hair. I'm like, this is George Bush though. Thanks.
But it's not.
Pinata Company.
Thanks,
But they were like,
But it's not.
His name was like George Bus or something dumb like that. Where you're like,
Or is it like
They just forgot to put the H at the end.
like they do with those what is it? Halloween masks when they're avoiding copyright infringement?
yeah.
So instead of like vampire, it's like bloodsucker man or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mask of former president
Mesco, former president,
Right.
George Bus.
George Bus, Jorge Bus.
All right, here's this next one.
All right.
Florida man shoots sister in the butt because she baked him a penis-shaped cake.
Say that one more time.
A Florida man shoots sister in the butt because she baked him a penis-shaped cake.
Wait, so did he aim for her butt? Or is it
It
just...
hardly matters.
You're really
The fact that you point a gun at someone,
Right.
Question 1, why bake a penis-shaped cake for your brother? Question 2, why pull a gun out when that happens?
It depends on where in Florida. If it's Panhandle, I mean, if it's Southern Florida, then it becomes a little bit more in question. But I'm going to say fake because I don't think that a news organization would use the word butt.
I'm gonna say fake just because we haven't had a fake one yet.
I feel like it would say something like, it wouldn't say butt, it would just say shoot's sister, and then in the article it would be like Van Clyde stated, he shot me in the rear end because I baked him a penis-shaped cake.
I love the name. When you said Van Clyde, I couldn't decide if that was the girl or the guy.
I know that is the question.
So it's fake.
Yeah.
What was fake about it is that it was actually a vagina-shaped cake, which is worse.
Wait.
Is it?
Oh my god.
I mean, it's slightly worse.
It's probably worse to me because I'm a dude. Either way.
This is like the piñata where I don't want a cake to resemble anything human-looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super fair.
Did we do the cannibal question before? If it was like, if you were given an opportunity with no consequence to eat human flesh.
Oh yeah, we did that. And okay. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not comfortable. But then again, I gave the disclaimer, you don't really know until you're in a situation where you're actually there and you actually have to make a real decision. Where me from a distance going, I'd never eat human flesh, and I pray God that's super true, but if I was starving to death and that's all that was there, I have no way of knowing that I'd be like,
this is just a hot dog. This is just a hot dog. This is just a hot
If
dog.
I'm starving to death, there's no way to know that until you're in that exact point.
It's just a hot dog.
It's just a hot dog.
It's just a hot dog and some bile.
A big stinky hot dog. Oh, a big stinky hot dog. Alright, next.
Okay.
I'm on a roll with these. I've gotten one.
Out of, was that 4? 5? Biker suddenly reminded that this forest belongs to the bears.
I want to say real.
Jack really wants a biker to have this happen.
I want to read that article.
I'm gonna say fake, but I feel like that's a good start to a movie.
It's real, and the video's great. There's people doing those mountain biking things where they attach a GoPro to the front of their bike and they're just zooming down the mountain.
Right.
And as they're going down, you see this bear walk out of the woods, and the guy's like, "Oh shoot!" Only he didn't say shoot.
He said shucks.
Yeah. That.
Yeah.
And then like 4 or 5 other bears start walking out of the woods, and these bikers are freaking out because they're like, "Oh no!" Because there's one path and there's bears right next to it, and you see a bear like take a really lazy swipe at one, and he misses, and the bear has his face like, "I can't be bothered to chase something going that fast," and the bears move on, but the guys have a real good heckin' scare.
Oh my gosh, I want to read that article.
Have you seen?
I just love the title. Honestly.
Have you seen that video? It's a woman who's like skiing or something, and she has a GoPro looking behind her, or it's like supposed to look at her face, but it looks over her shoulder.
Yeah.
And as she's skiing, you can see in the video that a bear is chasing her.
Not that far away.
Right, but she doesn't know.
And he's like growling. He looks hungry as heck. And you're like, "Oh no!"
And so she didn't notice until she like got to the bottom of the mountain and like looked at the footage and saw the bear and was like, "I didn't know that there was a bear chasing me down a mountain."
I loved it because I was reading that article, and she was like, well, she's like, I mean, something felt off, but I was like, I always feel a little off when you're moving that fast down a mountain because something feels dangerous. It's the fact that you're going down a mountain. I didn't assume, oh, there's a bear 4 feet behind me.
Right.
Oh my gosh. That's freaky.
That one. This one is badass 10-year-old pries open gator's jaws to free her leg.
Right. The wording makes
Would they
me
use
want to
badass?
say
I feel like I'm analyzing this too much.
Well, okay, would this be an article on the internet? If it's on the internet, then yes, they
It didn't
would
come
use
from a newspaper because I can't be motivated enough to go get a newspaper.
It's probably like BuzzFeed or something.
It's not BuzzFeed.
Okay.
that.
Also, they wouldn't talk about
actual
news like this.
Yeah.
I want to say fake.
I'm gonna say
there's a lot of real ones in this pool.
Fake.
But it's gonna be real.
I'm going to say embellished.
It's real, but when they say gator,
Right.
they don't mean the really big gator.
One damn gators.
It's like the ones that are
Just
like
the little baby
3 or 4 feet long. So like
Okay.
big enough that a 10-year-old opening the jaws is still pretty impressive. Like, shout out to the girl who's also from Florida.
They're probably from Panhandle.
It's just the baby alligator that's like barely even like covering
the length of your hand to your elbow.
Right.
No, it was like 3 or 4 feet long, and the kid's leg is still pretty messed up.
Well, yeah.
But
I-
I mean,
That's
yeah,
freaking dope, though.
yeah. I wish I was as cool as that kid.
I don't think I'll ever be that cool.
Can I see your sick scar from when you were attacked by that gator? Yeah.
I mean, I gotta pull my pants down, but yeah.
It's going to anyway. Who was this? 10-year-old girl?
Just a 10-year-old girl who was
So-
out in Florida because
Yeah,
half
that's
these
like
stories are from
fourth-
Florida. 'cause-
Slightly inappropriate joke.
I mean, that's fine.
It's Florida.
What's 3rd, 4th grade?
I don't know what that means. Next!
Okay. A man sneaks 24 pears onto an international flight, turns himself in to the air marshal.
Oh, pears like the fruit?
Pears, as in like the
I was gonna
fruit.
say a pair of what?
I clicked on this because I was
You're a
genuinely
teacher.
curious, but
So real?
I mean,
Wait, okay, say the
Maybe I'm
headline
wrong.
again.
Hold
or the
on.
article title
Hold
again.
on.
what are you
Okay,
doing?
never mind. We're good.
Okay. Read the title again?
Yeah.
Man sneaks 24 pears onto international flight, semicolon, turns himself into the air marshal. Not as in he transforms into the air marshal, he turns himself.
Dude, I watched that too.
He just like starts glowing, becomes the air marshal, and he's like, I got a new job.
Yeah.
Also, I snuck pears onto the flight.
No, I feel guilty. I'm turning myself in to myself.
Just on principle, now I need to just say it's fake. Just because I'm waiting for one to be fake.
No way. No way, it's real.
I mean, it's super fake.
Yes!
But you said you clicked on it. Liar.
Lie. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I did this because it's illegal to take fruit across
That is true.
national borders.
Yeah, when I went back from Trinidad, when I got to U.S. Customs,
You try to sneak 24 pears onto an international flight.
they were like, you bringing anything back to the U.S.? And I was like, other than a head cold and some chocolate bars.
And they were like,
Oh,
I'm gonna
great.
search this guy's bag.
Did you also turn into the air marshal?
I went to Trinidad. I went to Trinidad for a week. And I came back with a quadruple sinus infection and a double ear infection. And so when I was like a head cold, I was like, I'm ready to be home, and if they stop me from being home, I'm going to explode figuratively. If not with snot, with strong rhetoric.
Oh.
Strong rhetoric. I love that.
Like I went to the doctor like 2 days after I got back, and he took a flashlight and shined it towards my sinuses, and apparently in the dark, light sort of like you can see inside of your sinuses.
Yeah.
And if there's like sort of dark splotches, they say, okay, you're a little bit congested. If it's pretty clear, then they're like, yeah, you're probably fine. You just probably have like a small blockage, something like that. Mine was dark, as in no light got through.
Oh my god.
Right. And so he was like, you're very sick.
He takes the light, he uses it, and he's like, pulls back out, checks to make sure the light's
Right.
on. Pulls back in, he's like, oh no.
Right. And so the idea that I was a little sick, I was dying. I was by the end of the week, I burned through an entire bottle of Dayquil in like 48 hours.
Sick.
I was taking pulls from it, like just straight out of the bottle.
Pretty sick buzz going.
Right. It was pretty great. People were like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm good.
You're like,
I'm good. I'm rocking a good buzz right now. I'm ready to get on this
sick
plane.
Dayquil buzz.
Best night.
I've now slept in 4 different airports. On the floor of 4 different airports, I should say.
Okay, next one. College baseball team takes field to a Donald Trump speech.
Takes field?
As in, like, as they ran onto the field. When, like, teams run out on the field.
Right.
Wait.
and they play music usually. They did it with
Oh,
a
and they
Donald
played-
Trump speech instead.
I don't know why anyone would do that, so I'm gonna say fake.
I'm gonna say fake.
It's fake, but
Thank God.
it was a lacrosse team, not a baseball team.
Actually, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
changed
that
it, and I
makes
was
sense.
like, when I wrote that down, I'm like, I should have made it a more douchey sport.
Yeah. Well, reality chose the more douchey sport.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's a more white sport.
Then lacrosse.
Right. Maybe water polo. Maybe actual polo.
They swim out into the
Polo
pool
might
to a
actually-
Donald Trump speech.
I slowly trying to swim. They're like, as you just hear him talking.
Wrong. You're all wrong. You're gonna go to hell. Mexico, they're gonna pay for it. They're gonna pay for you to go to hell.
Okay.
This has been my Trump impersonation. Thank you. I'll be here next week. Don't clap for that. It's really not good.
We're down to our last article.
All right.
Identity of a naked man posing on a shark has the internet pointing fingers.
Say that one more time so I can build the imagery.
Identity of a naked man posing on a shark has the internet pointing fingers. That was I want this to be fake.
It's not even I want this to be fake. It's more of like a... Like, why does the internet care?
Because the internet gets riled up about things every other minute.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Mountain, molehill, etc. I'm gonna... What do you think, Jackie?
I don't know.
I've been answering these quite a bit, so I'm gonna let you...
Field this one.
Yeah. Knock it out of the park here, Yaki-san. I'm gonna go make myself a drink. I'm not gonna go make myself a drink. We're gonna sit here.
I'm gonna say it's real.
Nah, she's wrong. No, I don't know.
This one is real, but the best part about this is that they found out who it is. It's a college football coach. I saw the picture. It's horrifying. It'll haunt your nightmares. He caught a shark while he was out fishing for sharks, and then apparently he decided in his very drunk state to strip butt naked and then straddle the shark and be like, instead of going, I caught one and it was this big, being like, hey look, me, naked me, for reference.
Naked for scale.
The best part about the story,
The fact that
where
you
did he
said
coach?
drunk.
The University of Florida.
What happens in Florida?
I have a theory that what
Identity
actually
of a
killed
naked
the
man
alien.
posing on a shark has internet pointing finger. I hate...
That it's real. Yeah, like how you checked.
I love how it starts warning the image below is disturbing. And it's just the picture of the coach's face. That's brutal.
You scroll a little bit further down.
I will not look.
News that matters to you. HuffPo. Keep supporting it. No, I don't want to support HuffPo. Let me close.
My theory about what's up with most of Florida, mind you, I mean no offense to people that I love and care about that are in Florida,
Nah, you
that
can...
are actually cool people, meaning Graham's family.
I don't really
I have the theory that the dinosaurs died. You found the picture.
Why?
I feel bad that I pulled this page open last night and that it's just sat open on my like computer, and I just know that picture's down there somewhere. Yeah, it's a. Hey, podcast listeners, we'll provide a link to this page.
No, we won't. The person tweeting about this says, "Who is this man? Please retweet. Find him and ask him why he did this. Where's the humor in humiliating slaughtered animals?" I don't care.
The shark doesn't care. It's dead.
Well, here's my problem. I don't care about the humiliation of slaughtered animals. A, because they're dead, and as long as you're like not having sex with it,
Yeah.
I don't care. This is close to that. But in general, I just don't know why you would do it.
Even in the drunkest state you could get, I don't know where someone was. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm a strip naked and go sit on top of the shark."
Or is he sitting on top of the shark?
He's like, I don't want to say mounting it,
It's
but
the wrong word, but it's the right word.
right. And so when he
I
was
have an
like,
idea.
I'm gonna get naked. I'm gonna get naked and ride this shark. No, like Jim, don't do that. No, Jim, that's a bad idea. Oh, he's taking off his shirt. No, Jim, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Don't tempt me.
It's his friends. Actually, I think what happened is
tempting
once he got naked and got on top, they all lost it because it was a little bit funny because they knew him. Everyone else was like, "This is bad." Someone actually took a picture, and then it got on Twitter. How did that happen?
Yeah, that's not an accident. That feels very, very intentional.
But back to my theory about Florida. I heard a theory that what killed the dinosaurs is aliens came down and killed the dinosaurs.
And then
the
settled in
aliens were
Florida.
humans. My theory is that aliens came down, killed the dinosaurs, and that's just Florida. The aliens that killed the dinosaurs are 98% of the people in Florida.
It just seems like so. I mean, it has its own subreddit. I was telling you this earlier.
it's super dumb.
r/Florida man.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's a real trip. Man, I just
Can't get that image out of your head.
it was so bad. He's so pale.
See, I'm really curious.
The lower
but
half.
I'm curious, but I'm not gonna look.
Oh, jeez.
Especially because I feel like if I tried, you guys would stop me.
I would stop you.
I
I would slap your face.
Jackie, don't look it up.
No, I'm not going to.
Podcast listeners, don't look it up. It's haunting. To say it's not safe for work is
I'm
calm.
gonna do it. I'm gonna take off my. I'm gonna climb. I'm gonna climb on this shark. No, Jim.
Stop.
Jim. That's a bad idea. No, don't tempt me. No, we're not tempting you. We
We're
don't
not.
want you to do that.
Please,
no,
stop.
you're joking. I'm gonna climb on this. I'm gonna climb. I'm gonna climb on the shark.
So good at this.
And then he mounted the shark.
Right. And then he's naked on the shark. And they're like, well, better post it.
And they're like, this is his wife's gonna get a kick out of this.
His
on
wife
Twitter.
loves it when he humps dead animals. She thinks that's so funny.
She's a bad
Oh,
person.
Florida.
We're gonna list one Florida man post from Reddit. I'm just gonna pick a random one.
Go for it.
Florida man high on meth locks himself in a car that is not his own and tries to hotwire it as police approach, despite the keys being in the ignition.
No, that makes sense.
Florida, ladies.
Yeah. I feel like that is a daily occurrence. Could you imagine being
daily occurrence.
Could you imagine
Just
being,
in Florida.
being a police officer in Florida?
No.
Shaq did.
Ugh.
He was. When he played for the Magic, he's like, I want to be a cop in my free time. And the coach was like, why? Having lived in Florida
You'll
for
get
a while.
injured.
And then Shaq just gave people tickets and actually
Yeah.
didn't give a lot of tickets, which is why he was no longer a cop.
Well,
He never met his quota. I feel sorry for the
Never met
chief of police who was like, hey, O'Neill, you're fired.
that's fine. I'll go back to selling Gold Bond body spray.
Supple.
Supple.
So,
I nurture my
I
skin.
nurture my skin. Foot powder spray.
Gold Bond.
Supple.
Insert transition to other topic.
That's not going to be our actual translation.
No, we're going to cut all that
Yeah,
out.
we're going to cut every single noise we just made out. Jack, you want to give it a shot? Let's do it. Give us a transition noise. The sound of silence.
We just go dark. Which the heart beats
darkness,
out.
my old friend.
You can't put me on the spot like that.
Anyway,
Anyway, we're back.
what do we...
We're back. Let's talk about movies.
So we saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2 last night.
It was sick.
Let's go around the table and give it a numerical measchement of quality, starting with Yaki-san.
Got him. Pick
did.
me first. Got him. Got me.
I did got them.
I did got them. Freaking roasted.
I mean, out of
Pick a numerical number and then pick a
Should I start? Do you want me to
I'm
start?
gonna say I gave it a 7 out of 7.
A 7 out of 7? Okay.
I like that you could have chosen any number if you were going to give it 100%, and you chose the luckiest number
I was gonna
Oh,
give
of
it
sevens.
I'll give it
It was an odd number.
I'll give it 5 out of 7 baby Groots.
Oh, I love Baby Groot.
Baby Groots.
I'm giving it. I can't choose 10.
See, that's what I was going for.
I'm gonna give it like a 2.3 out of like 3.
Of what's? Living planets?
Now, let me rephrase that. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of.
Okay.
Back to my rating. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. The audio cut out?
No.
Okay, I thought it did.
He needs to restart his computer.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 Eco the Living Planets.
Okay. So...
Not really a spoiler, but if it is, sorry. Not sorry.
I mean...
No.
No.
People said sorry, not sorry.
I'm not gonna apologize for you not
All
knowing
right,
enough.
so... I guess we should talk about... Say one thing you liked about it, one thing you might not have liked about it, and then talk about how it connects into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's start with you, Jackie. To preface this, Jackie is the biggest Marvel fan you'll ever meet. She knows every character, every idiosyncrasy.
If you ask her what day Old Man Logan came out, she'll not only tell you the day, but the exact minute.
Yeah, the minute it dropped. Give us that.
Give or take a couple years.
Roll it out. Roll it out. What do we got? What's
October 31st, 1900.
somewhere before or after my
War II.
birthday?
Before or after my birthday, I'm not sure.
Give or take
Hot take.
100 years or so.
Man, Jackie's voice
Ish.
changed a lot.
Oh yeah, it happens
All right,
every once in a
okay.
while.
Let us have it.
One thing that I
you don't
really
have to
liked.
do the third part, but you
Yeah,
should
I
do
wasn't going to do
Something
it.
you like, something you thought could have improved, maybe?
Right.
What I really liked about it, I wasn't sure exactly how they were going to play out that whole Baby Groot thing.
Mm.
I didn't know, which I love Baby Groot, but I also know that characters like that, when they're supposed to be really popular, they overplay that a lot, and then it takes over the movie, and it really takes away from the movie. I thought they did it really well. I really liked how
They can either go the
played.
Baby Groot route
Right.
or the Minion route.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I would agree with that. Though I would say that this movie, while it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, like the main plot was Chris Pratt and his dad. Spoilers. This was really the story of Yondu and Baby Groot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Those two storylines were like, I mean, Baby Groot's freaking amazing because he's adorable.
Yes, very much.
But and Vin Diesel's pretty great.
As a baby.
Right, but everything.
Baby Vin Diesel's adorable.
But I really like. It's not Norman Reedus. It's whoever plays Yondu. You're gonna give me a name real quick. Yondu Udanta. Michael Rooker.
I'm gonna check that out once this page loads because the internet's mighty slow. It's the amount of
Michael Rooker. It was the story of Michael Rooker. Anything I like him.
I mean, you're super right.
Boom, Michael Rooker. I like him as an actor, but I like the character of Yondu, and so him getting to shine quite a bit in this movie was A-okay for me.
Yeah, I always loved Yondu. My complaint with the first movie, which was small, and this is one of my few complaints with the first movie, was I liked Yondu's hair.
Head hair.
Right.
Yeah, his
Thing.
the thing,
Fin.
the thing they called the fin. I liked it better as the tall version. The first movie it was really short. And I'm like, they're trying to do something minimalist, and to not make people go, "Wow, he's a freaking weirdo." I mean, the fact that he's got a metal thing poking out of his skull makes him a weirdo. But I'm glad that they brought him closer to what he looked like in the comics. The second movie.
I liked the short one, the one that he had originally in the movies.
Made
But
him
that's
look like a
because I
biker.
didn't know
Well, it made him
what the fin
It made
looked
him
like,
look-
and then they added it, and I really liked it.
right.
But
It made him look a little more normal, like he would
Yeah.
fit in a little bit more.
Like he was just a blue person with weird hair.
Right. And so, to that extent, I think because he tended to be someone who flew under the radar a little bit, if they were like, oh, he's that blue guy with that giant shark fin on his head, they'd be like,
That
Yondu.
one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but if it's just like blue guy, red hair sort of thing, they'd be like, they could be like 100 people. So
In the universe.
I think there was a good reason for it. For this one, they were like, let's make Yondu awesome and sort of more comic booky, and
Yeah.
I was totally okay with that.
Yeah. There were some scenes in that movie that I'm not going to talk in detail about.
Right.
Where he was going through doing Yondu things, and I was like, this is very pleasing to me because it's a
Very
it's a 11.5 out of 11.
Right. All right, what didn't you like? Or maybe not liked as much?
Yucky son.
So in Stardew Valley, there was this...
Okay.
Burr, burr, got him. Burr.
I don't know.
High five song.
I don't know.
You really like this movie.
I mean,
We can
David is 7 out
cycle
of 7.
back to you if you want.
Cycle back to the things you don't like.
I mean, there were pieces where I've never been a person who likes, like, kind of in kids' movies when they're like, and that's friendship.
Yeah,
or they,
that's
like,
fair.
try to do things like that. I felt like a few lines in the movie
Yeah,
felt
that's
very
fair. Very scripted.
forced.
Right.
And I
It
mean,
seemed
I
fairly
liked what they were
unnatural.
saying. Like, I understood it. I just didn't like the way they said it.
I did
Right.
like how for every line that seemed forced, there was a line that seemed like it was unscripted, and
Right.
actors like Chris Pratt were like, "This is what I would say." So this is
Right.
what Star-Lord's
Yeah,
gonna say.
Overall, there's not too much that I would fix about the movie. But I
That's
don't.
fair.
I never read the comics, so I don't know what
So fair.
I'll admit,
it
I've
would.
only
it's
read
supposed
like
to
a
be.
handful of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I've read maybe like 6 or 7.
Right.
It's not a lot.
I don't think many people have.
It's a pretty. I would like to read more,
Mm.
but I have a nice computer and I want to get viruses. I don't want
From torrenting comic books.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm the person right now talking about the movie where you're saying.
It didn't cut.
Where you're
My
saying.
heart stopped.
Yeah, I really liked it. Never read the book. Movie's fantastic, and then everyone who reads the book is like, that movie's terrible.
Right.
So, like, people who watched the movie that doesn't exist, the old Avatar movie,
Which
the
one?
not blue people one.
Yeah, what movie?
Yeah, exactly. Anyone who
Last
watched the
Airbender?
show was like, that movie was garbage. People who never saw the show were like, the movie wasn't bad. And they were wrong.
Hold on. I know people who never watched Avatar The Last Airbender and saw Avatar the movie and were like, no, that movie's bad. And I'm like, but here's why it's bad even more. Here's what they did with earthbending in the show, and here's the 6 people it took to lift a freaking rock.
Like
in
a
the
little
movie.
pebble.
You think it's a 4 out of 10? Let me show you why it doesn't deserve to be a movie.
Let me show you why it's not anything out of 10.
Yeah.
Why it's a big hunking turd out of 10.
It owes me stars out of 10.
Yes, it's negative -5 stars.
The Avatar movie rates me 10 out of 10 for showing up.
Right.
Like,
M. Night Shyamalan took a big stinky one with
his movies are big
Avatar.
stinkies or good.
signs.
Yeah.
End of list.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Sixth
for
Sense Unbreakable.
Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know how that compares. I super liked the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think they. When it comes to the comic books, Marvel has stayed fairly not faithful, but they haven't done the comics wrong.
As faithful as they can while still attracting an audience that isn't just like, I read the comics and I want to see that in person.
Right. If it's like, if there aren't exact frames from the comic book put into the movie, I'm gonna leave. Nerd
I'm
rage.
assuming they're actually putting in the big scenes that should. The key scenes that should be
On
there.
a small note from that, which is
Unless
why I
they're
love the
not.
marketing they're doing from the Spider-Man movie, because they're all old posters or fronts of comics for
Right.
old Spider-Man comics.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I see one, my little heart just flutters.
My little
I'm
boy.
like,
my boy heart.
Don't call it that.
My boy heart.
My boy heart.
My boy.
That's what. So the plot of Spider-Man is Iron Man going, "Where's my boy?"
Right.
That's basically what it
And
is.
Spider-Man's like,
He
here.
Can I have my suit back?
My aunt is very attractive. And then Tony's like, yeah, she is. And then he's like, stay away. Give me my suit back.
Then he does a heck in Spider-Man, gets his suit back, movie over.
I feel like
And
I
we're
just
all
watched
love
the
it.
movie.
Roll credits. Tom Holland, everybody. Tom
Roll
Holland.
credits, Marvel cutscene
RDJ.
about
RDJ.
something else.
RDJ. Nick Fury being bald.
I feel like I don't even
Roll
need to go
credits.
see the movie.
Roll
now.
credits,
I think
roll
I just
credits.
watched it.
Roll credits.
Okay, Guardians of the
Roll
Galaxy.
Do you want to go or I can go? You go.
can go.
You go. You
Okay.
go.
No, you
I'm
go.
going to go make myself a drink. So. No, you go. I don't want that.
Okay, here we go.
I'll take one for the road later.
Something I liked about the movie is, I mean, overall, I felt like it was a pretty solid movie. I liked that they managed to take a balance of a movie with some solid points and still adding funny things in between all of it, so it didn't feel like, here's the funny section of the movie, here's the serious part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit of both. But my complaint is that it felt like there was too much forced funny. Like, it was still hilarious,
Yeah, I
but
see
it felt
that.
like, I can't mention it because we're recording. There's a moment in the movie where there's a big fight, which doesn't give anything away because it's a superhero movie.
Hold on. There's fighting in this movie?
What?
Maybe you shouldn't watch the movie if you don't like fighting. because
Ah,
it's a superhero
shucky
movie.
darn.
Character A is like, I'm gonna do this, and character B does something as they're flying towards each other. And I was like, this is funny, but I'm upset that you took a very serious scene and it lost all seriousness for me
Right.
in half a second. It was still funny as heck, and I loved it. But, in like looking back, I'm like, I wish you would have let the movie be serious for a
near
second.
the end?
Yes.
That you're referring to? Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I really loved them. Yeah, spoilers. People, if you haven't seen the movie by the time this gets published,
That's
I
on
don't
you.
care. Yeah, it's on you.
Also, if you consider that a spoiler, oh my gosh.
Go
home.
Stop listening.
Actually,
No,
go
don't
home.
stop listening to me. Go
Please,
home.
please listen.
No, but I
Filter in your car or
definitely
something,
agree
go.
that there were forced funny things. Or there are different pieces that are like, okay, you're trying to be really funny. But
Yeah.
but it feels maybe it's that a lot of TV shows have been trying the same kind of humor.
My problem was, to the same extent, every time they forced the funny, it was still funny. Like,
Right.
Drax, I love him as a character, and he was funny. And part of his character is that everything kind of feels forced, because that's who he is.
Because he has...
Because his timing is always terrible.
Right. He has... his shtick is that he shows no emotion.
Yeah.
And that he is sort of personality-less, which is why Dave Bautista was great, because he's personality-less.
Yeah, he's big and scary, has no
Right.
personality, and his laugh is ridiculous.
Right.
Love
Which is why his laugh was funny, but sometimes it
Right.
subtracted from the scene where you're like, deep touching moment. And you're like,
Right.
oh, jeez.
You should see just the giant blob.
Sorry
of
for
sound.
everyone listening
Right.
with headphones
Yeah.
or in a car. I'm sorry that we lost your viewership today. Especially if I know you personally and you hate me.
No, I agree with that, but I think compared to like Iron Man 3 or Thor 2, where you have where they take these very serious and impactful moments and then just take all of the tension and rip it out with humor.
Yeah.
This was like, okay, there are these serious moments, and you can tell that the director said, okay, this is a serious moment and it needs to be serious, and we're not going to put humor in to
Yeah.
rip away from the seriousness.
Yeah.
If anything, the humor is going to add to the seriousness, or at least be sort of like a small cut in it, so
Yeah.
that it doesn't weigh like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
But with Thor 2, you have this big epic fight scene between Thor and Malekith, and then suddenly it's a vaudeville show where they're sliding against glass.
Yes.
And it's like, forget that. That is horrible.
Yeah.
Because this should be a very epic fight scene. By the way, the action in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was fantastic.
It was stellar.
was very good.
Camera work, music,
Yeah.
everything.
And there
Yeah,
was
good.
7 out of 7.
right, and there was no moment where it was like, here's a serious moment. Now let's take all of that seriousness and rip it out with something that's an attempt to be funny, whether it's funny or not.
Yeah. Like I said, I felt like even when they had serious moments and it felt like they forced the funny in, it was still funny and I laughed. But looking back, I'm like, well, I wish there were like 2 moments, like the one I mentioned, but couldn't actually mention. I wish they would have let it be more serious, but I'm still fine with the choice they made.
Right.
It fits the character Star-Lord, and it fits how Chris Pratt has played him this whole time.
Yeah.
So it made sense. If I were the director, it would have been different, but either one is fine.
Right.
And there were like 2 other moments where people were talking, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of serious. And then suddenly it was not serious. But that was largely because Drax is a very odd character.
Right. Well, and I think the only other complaint I might have along that line is that if you think of like a movie being split up into things that, let's say everything ties into the plot, but there are things that are serious that are worth giving time, and there are things that are funny that are worth giving time. I think the balance between those two was not in a place where I would have put it.
Yeah.
Is that there was this long drawn out scene where there's character A trying to help characters B and C, and it's this very, very funny but very drawn out storyline or story piece that could have been a few minutes shorter.
Yeah.
No, I think
And it was still a fine scene, and it was
I thought it was funny.
funny,
I thought
and
it was very funny.
great.
I thought it was great, but it could have been a couple minutes shorter.
I think
all of our
that's the scene I was
complaints-
the
Yeah.
vaguely referring to.
Right.
Like, all of our complaints are half complaints where it's like, well, this was not perfect, and it
Right.
could have been better, but it's still good.
Right.
I loved it. I think I was expecting there to be a few more serious spots in it.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time,
They made it.
I felt like the movie was almost
They made it like 55-65 when it should have been 60-40.
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Which is still
55-45,
fine.
right.
But just to get a 10 out of 10 instead of my whatever it was.
Right. That's why I gave
should have
it
been
a
64
5 out of 7. Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
generally when movies get really serious, the risk of me crying goes through the roof. And so I'm glad
if you
that
watched
it wasn't.
Captain America Winter Soldier, you'd be a mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like maybe I've seen that, but I'm not sure.
It was a movie that
That's my
only my
best one.
dad and I saw
That's my
because
favorite one.
y'all were like, I'm too tired. I'm like, you're going to watch this because they're connected. And you guys didn't see it for years. And then I was like, before you watch
favorite
Civil War, you have to watch this movie.
I feel like
And y'all were like, I don't want to. I'm like, I don't care. Sit on the couch, watch the movie. And you did. And you're like, that was good.
That's
I
good
feel
motivation.
like I've
Yes.
watched
Yeah.
most of the movies. I just can't remember them right
That's
now.
fair.
That's fair. They tend to blur together. Plus, I would say that currently, the ones that are important at this point, like, you don't have to see all the way from The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton,
Which they
to
consider
understand
no
what's
longer
going on.
part of the universe. But
I
really,
mean-
all they did was introduce Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. And what's-his-face as a general guy. So he could later...
Thaddeus Ross.
Yeah, so he could slide the accords at people in
Thunderbolt.
Civil War.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realistically to know what's gonna to have a gist of what's happening in Thor 3. You don't need to see Iron Man 1.
God, I hope not.
If that
gonna be
happens,
long.
I'll be impressed. But
with a strong and firm
Right,
question
right.
mark.
I would say for me, I thought it was very well acted. I liked a lot of the. I was a little worried when I saw that they were going to give. I would say that it's not as good as the first one, but it's very good. And so, comparing to the first one, where it was like, where there were pretty much 5 characters. There was Groot, Rocket, Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax. And then there
Good job.
were other characters that were sort of like in there, but not really vital to the plot. Like there was a villain, but there were a bunch of sub-villains, etc. With this one, you had sort of in the main plot, you had like 9 characters.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, I was very concerned that it was going to be busy
It was
and
going to
overcrowded.
be Avengers too.
Right, and there was going to be some 1 or 2 characters that were not going to get the time they should have. But I think they did it really well.
Yeah.
I think
I
everyone got the time they needed. I would agree with you that there were some things that were very heavy-handed when it came to like emotional moments.
Yeah.
And I think some of the action scenes, though very good, were a little over the top.
I mean, yeah.
But that's to be expected to an extent with a sci-fi superhero movie.
Especially Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Which is very over the top. Based on the fact there's a freaking living tree man who's best friends with a raccoon.
Right. So I went into it. I went to it expecting that trash panda.
You can't call him that.
That's the sand people of raccoons. But I think I went into it expecting some over the top stuff, but there were just some parts that was just way like because there was so much, like so many big action scenes and big CGI and big like very involved scenes and stuff like that. All of them were just the littlest bit not as perfect.
Yes.
And so because of that, because they had to stretch all of this stuff over a movie, there was less that they could do in each one. And so in the first one, which there's a whole lot of special effects in the first one, but there's a lot of like practical effects in that one as well, because you have a lot of sets, a lot of closed-in areas that don't have to have these big animated sky boxes. That's what I'm looking for. But I think for this one, because there was like all these big action scenes and all this big displays of CGI prowess, some of it seemed to take a little bit of a hit because of how much work they had to do. But I still think it was immensely impressive.
Same thing with that, where I feel like with our other complaints, where it's like, well, it's this, but it made sense.
Right.
Like that one where it seems a little bit over the top because things are going to be over the top. When you have a character that is ego, not a spoiler.
Hold on, ego's in this movie?
I mean, yes.
What?
A character like Ego, who is already as over the top as you can get in a Marvel movie with the exception to like maybe 3 or 4 characters.
Galactus.
Yes.
Fing Fang Foom,
yes.
maybe.
Whoa.
And Fing Fang Foom is a gigantic dragon.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right. Galactus is the Eater of Worlds. And maybe the Anti-Monitor?
Basically.
But, I mean, beyond that, those would not be hard to animate.
Yeah, and so, like, he's as over the top as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is gonna get as a character.
Right.
Unless they do some really dumb stuff with Thanos. Which I could see going one of 2 ways. Either I'll even be like, Thanos was great, he's my favorite character in the whole series. Or I'll even be like, that was the biggest letdown of my life. When really I'll give the movie like an 8.5 out of 10. That being said, all the complaints seem to be backhanded with the same thing of, well, it was my complaint, but it made sense, and I'm not upset they did it that way.
Right. This is not a DC movie where it's like, they did all of these things, and I like maybe 20% of them. I wish that 80% of it had been done this specific way because it would have been better. Yeah. This is just, I wish this could have been better. I don't realistically know how they could have done it differently to make it better, but they could have done it that way.
Everything that they did made sense.
Right.
And
which is a one-up on DC movies.
Only one?
I'm saying another one-up. This is like, let me unfurl the checklist of things that Marvel's doing better than DC.
Yeah,
I'm not the number one fan of Marvel, as you guys introduced me, but I definitely love Marvel.
Sick. Speaking of
It's definitely
DC,
a
we're
lot
at an hour.
happier than DC.
Speaking of DC, we should probably stop. Like DC movies probably should.
DC for disconnect.
DC for, this is pretty bad.
Oh, we should do a question. We should do a quick question.
We didn't answer the question from last week.
We didn't answer the question. So let's answer the question from last week, and then we'll introduce another one.
Jackie,
Okay.
if you could have two bands or musical artists collab on an entire album, what two would they be?
Well, you think about that. I'm going to answer
Good.
with the Baha Men and Bach. So that they can be called the Baha Men.
My answer is not good. I thought long and hard, and I decided to play this funnier instead of serious. Whatever band did the music for the old Scooby-Doo series.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who they are, but them.
They're a genius.
And then, like, Childish Gambino.
That'd probably be good.
It'd be pretty good, which is upsetting,
sort
but
of
really cool.
disappointing. Yeah.
Wait, so repeat the question one more time.
If you could have any two bands, artists,
Musicians of some sort.
collaborate on an entire album,
Joe Satriani and Coldplay.
who would they be? And I guess why, but most of them, when you say them, are going to be pretty obvious.
That's so timely.
2 out of 10.
Thank you. That's generous of you. Alright, we don't have all day. Come on.
Okay, whoa. You just asked me this now.
No, okay.
I guess
Which two martial artists?
for... I guess two artists that I super like that I'd love to hear together
For
would
a
be
whole album.
like Tech Nine and Lecrae.
That would be pretty sick.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good.
That would be
Because
actually
I
really
love
good.
all the music that Tech Nine has. I love Lecrae, but I like a lot of Tech Nine's
Tech
like...
Nine's a little heavier.
Yes, and I like that. But I also like the...
Jesus.
Jesus, but also the
like
less,
Jesus.
like, insane cussing.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
fair.
that's
So
fair.
I can listen to it and not feel bad.
So you can play it in front of your kids.
I can play
Jackie,
it.
don't play
in-
Lecrae in front of
You
your
should
kids.
play Tech 9 in front of your kids.
Yeah, only play Tech 9. not
It's one of
Lecrae.
those
He's the
things
Jesus
where
one, right?
it's
I
like
mean,
because I have music
exclusively.
that plays through my head in the day, and I would like to be able to sing to all of it
Caribou
and
was
not
about
just
the last
sit there
supper,
and
so.
stop saying a lot of words.
I'm gonna throw out one more duo. I'm gonna just think of on the spot. VeggieTales.
Got him.
And Vanilla Ice.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Is it really?
Yeah. Because that would be terribly amazing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That being said, I would never listen to it. I listen to the first 30 seconds and go, ooh, ooh.
Iceberg lettuce. Bum 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 bum.
Jesus.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll do for a question for next week.
Do you have one?
I
Because I have
super don't. You pick
7.
from the list.
'Cause I don't
You
have
pick one.
I have 8.
Yeah, Jackie, you have to answer next week.
Yeah.
might
Do you
not.
have? Do you have
You
a
have a question you want to ask all of our listener?
No. Okay.
Just like I didn't have an answer to your question.
Hey, you had one. That was good.
Okay. If you were to, well, okay. What 2 video game franchises would, don't say Stardew Valley, would make the, well, what 2 video games do you want to have crossover, and what genre would the crossover be? So theoretically, you could take like Mario and Minecraft and make it a first-person shooter. But
That'd be
Oh my-
brutal, and I want to play the heck out of that.
that would be
I would
really
at least
dumb.
like to
It'd be
play
dumb.
the demo.
I would. That's something I would torrent, and I would just.
It'd be worth it. Be worth it.
It wouldn't be worth
It
it.
wouldn't be worth it.
I'm gonna give. Hey, Jackie, you go first. I'm kidding. I'll
Okay.
go first. I'll go first.
Give some quick fire answers. 'Cause
My
we're
quick fire
sitting
answer
at
based
hour
on
10.
things I've played. Horizon Zero Dawn because robot dinos.
And
Man, I just pick something, but I'm gonna say Just Cause because what that game needs to be more ridiculous is robot dinosaurs.
What genre would it be?
Those classic arcade ones.
So like Galaga?
Yeah, it's like an 8-bit game.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be really dumb.
It'd be really dumb.
Yeah.
I'll try to think of a better answer
For next week.
Sure.
Right, for next week. I'm gonna say Barbie's Horse Adventure
Oh god, I hate you.
and Halo, and it would be a fighting game.
Oh my gosh.
You win.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm into that.
When you say that, I just picture Barbie.
A horse punching Master Chief in the
No,
face.
I picture Barbie riding a horse decked out in Master Chief armor, while Barbie is just unloading a gun into people.
But it's a fighting game.
Yeah, and it's just her finishing move. And then rainbows.
Yeah. That's the sound of rainbows, everybody. All right, Jackie, 3, 2.
Well, okay.
3,
so
2,
I'm
3, 2,
not supposed
3, 2,
to
1.
say. Okay.
No Stardew Valley.
I'm not allowed to say.
Don't say
Stardew
Harvest
Valley.
Moon either.
I don't.
Or
I've
Animal
never
Crossing.
played that.
No farming
never played
games.
that
Unless it's
either.
Farming
Good.
Simulator.
I
No.
would want to
Farming Simulator
mix
fighting game.
Lego games
Okay,
Sick.
and
with Guild Wars 2
Odd. I
because
like
those are two of my favorite kind of games.
it would seem to be just like Lego Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
would
I
still
mean,
be
well,
fun to play.
Yeah,
I
too.
can't
That'd be
say
interesting.
Lego Stardew Valley.
Oh, Jackie, please.
That's just Lego farms.
Unhook the Stardew Valley from your veins, please.
Look, I don't see how Lego and because I love Lego games. I don't
First
see how
person
that and Zelda would fit together. But those are
Why
three.
wouldn't it? Just Lego Zelda.
I mean,
Lego is less of a video game franchise and more of just
the style.
right. You could do Lego Halo, Lego Guild Wars,
That's
Lego Just Cause, Lego Farming Simulator.
I want to
I'd
do
play the heck
Lego.
out of a Lego Just
I
Cause.
want to play Lego Overwatch.
I actually wouldn't play that because it's already a silly game.
No, but I want to because I want to see it all.
Shut up.
I
Because
feel
when
like
you,
all the hitboxes
Headshot, and they just go.
the same.
when you shoot
Right.
someone,
They
they
just-
just break into the little.
Right.
They just fall into the little.
Gotta be a master builder.
But everything, the fundamentals are identical though.
yeah, you just
but
change the art style.
instead of all the characters, it's just Lego characters.
Hey Blizzard, if you want your next event, you know where to look. PDT podcast.
And so if you
Also Lego.
instead of like Tracer, Soldier, Roadhog, you have like Batman, what's his face from Lego Movie, Spaceman from Lego Movie, Aragorn, Harry Potter, what other?
The Harry Potter Lego games are fantastic.
Okay,
I mean, just to put it out there.
all right. You've been listening to PDT. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Potentially dangerous things.